one of the hot topics a couple weeks ago, and it's what was the big scream, was that big beautiful bill. And what was that?
O3B, I call it.
Yeah, the big,
One big beautiful bill.
one big beautiful bill. And how Medicaid was being handled. There was a lot of misinformation that was out there.
A ton of misinformation.
And it was, I mean, it was a huge, and when the big part was definitely real.
Yeah.
It was like 900 pages or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you might be the only person I've ever met that's read this entire thing. But if you can, in 3 or 4 minutes, explain what's the scream about Medicaid, why that is not accurate, and what is the reason for those Medicaid cuts.
Right. Okay. First of all, we're not cutting any Medicaid benefits. Let me say that right off the get-go. But the reason we have to look at the way the program is being run is because from 2019 until today, Medicaid costs have risen 60%. Troy, you don't have to be a mathmatician to know that is not sustainable.
There's no business that survives that.
Nobody can survive that. So, and what's driving that growth in the expense? And here's what a lot of people don't understand. The Medicaid program is actually administered by the different states. The federal government just pays the bill. And so all your eligibility requirements and all the checking and, who gets signed up and all that, that's all done at the state level. So think about, now I can tell you with Governor Ron DeSantis, buddy, ours is tight. We're doing it the right way. But look at some of these states, New York, New Jersey, California, Illinois. Those guys, they even know they're registering illegals and don't care. Also, let me share some other numbers with you that DOJ found. There are currently 1.2 million individuals who are registered for Medicaid in 2 or more states. Think about that.
2 or more states?
2 or more states. And don't hold me to this number because it's a crazy number, but there's 25,000 who are registered in 12 or more states. Think about that. It's crazy. But
I think that's the scariest part is the people receiving it know more about it than the people actually administrating it.
Well,
and that's for 5 or more.
Think about that.
Wow. 12
or more states.
12 or more states.
Some ridiculous numbers. And then, so you've got those double dippers, right?
Yeah.
Then you also have people who, it's 1.6 million, who are double dipping in Medicaid and ACA. So they're registered in ACA, but they also have Medicaid benefits. So that's 2.8 million Americans. Well, all of them aren't necessarily American. I shouldn't say that. That's 2.6 million who are double dipping in the system. That's what we're going after. We're going after the waste, fraud, and abuse. And we're going to require, if you're between the age of 19 and 64, and you're what they call an able-bodied adult without a dependent, you need to get your butt to work. So you need to give us 20 hours a week of work, 20 hours a week of, or not and, 20 hours a week of work, or 20 hours of volunteering, or 20 hours of education, going to school to better yourself. We want you to get better so you get off the system. And so it's really a welfare to work again. And it's not even as strict, I don't think, as it was under Bill Clinton. So when you hear people talk about all these thousands of people are going to die because they're going to lose their Medicaid benefits, folks, that is not true. It absolutely is not true.
Well, and I get very aggravated. I grew up on a farm, and everybody worked, and I've worked ever since I can remember. And I get very aggravated when people tell me, "Oh, well, there's no work out there." I mean, that is probably the most frustrating. I'm like, I'll give you one of my 12 jobs. and everybody is really good about making excuses of why they're not working.
Right.
If they just went to work and put that kind of energy into work, they'd be successful.
They'd be in great shape.
They'd be successful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's to me is a component that I really, I want people to work. I don't mind helping too. Those. I'm president of Home Again, the Veterans Village, and that's our foundation, and the one we have about to open on State Road 16.
Well, Troy, let me tell you, because I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these national associations that are putting some of this information out, they are just flat out scaring the daylights out of people. There was one, Chris and I, we actually went to Brooks Rehab and had to go to their brain trauma. They call it the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these folks are suffering from brain trauma, and they got something from their national association telling them that they were no longer going to be able to use Medicaid for their therapies.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to show them in black and white that was not true.
They're just outright,
they still have the same exemptions that they had before. They're not going to have to go out and get a job. They don't have to go, they're exempted from that community engagement piece, and their benefits are not going to change. Mm-hmm. We're just going after the double dippers, the abusers, the adults without dependents that ought to be out working and getting their health care through their employer. And so, those people were just scared to death, Troy, that they were going to lose all their benefits. It's sad to see.
They shouldn't even have been worried about.
No.
They should be worried about getting healthy.
It's so sad to see that.
At that point. All right.